Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and for today's video, I'm going to show you the preview for the student loan debt cancellation application, as well as give you some more updates. I'm back again to talk about student loans. Let's just jump into it. The first thing I want to share with you is the preview for the student loan cancellation application. So this was released a couple of days ago, and obviously it's just a preview, so it is not ready yet for you to actually fill these things out and apply. But this is what the application should look like. As promised, it is very simple and to the point. Back when this cancellation was announced, they told us that this application would be available early October. We are really no longer in early October, we're in the midpoint of October, so there are reasons for the delay, and that's also what I'm going to talk about in this video. Just like with everything else, all of these videos I've been making around the student loan debt cancellation, nothing is 100% set in stone yet, including this application. This is just a preview. Who knows if or what they would change on it. I don't think anything else more would be added to it, but for the most part, this is pretty simple. So let's just go ahead and run through this application. I will put this link down below so you can see it for yourself. Okay, so this is what they're expecting the application to look like. It gives you a breakdown of who is eligible. It does say, we already know this, like we've been talking about this for a couple of months now, but it does say how it works. You apply today, but no later than December 31st, 2023. So you have about a year and a couple of months to apply. We'll determine your eligibility and we'll contact you if we need more information. Your loan servicer will notify you when your relief has been processed. I'm going to assume that our relief will be processed before our provider actually notifies us. Maybe it will happen in the same day or within, 24 hours or so, but a lot of us will probably see the cancellation go through before we even get an email, because I see it in the comments that y'all are like checking your accounts, checking your emails, checking for an application. So I know many people will just keep logging into their accounts to see if their balance decreased or not. Okay, and as we go down, we get to the actual information you would need to fill in. So just your first name, middle initial, last name, former last name if you had that, your social security number, you confirm your social security number, date of birth, phone number, email, and you confirm your email. That is so easy. That is amazing. And yeah, this is great because there's nothing confusing about the actual application. This is like the only thing not confusing about this whole process, so hopefully it stays this way. Then after you put your information in, you want to review and submit the agreement. I request federal student loan debt relief of up to $20,000. If requested, I will provide proof of income to the U.S. Department of Education. I understand that if I fail to do so by March 31st, 2024, or if my income does not qualify for federal student loan debt relief, the relief will not be processed. So even if your income, if you're not sure about your income from the last couple of years, which you probably should be aware of what your income was and if you qualify, but you can just go ahead and apply. If you are not eligible, it wouldn't be processed, and they probably would tell you that, but yeah, so you're just agreeing to that. Number 2, I verify that I am the individual named above, because keep in mind, you have to apply for this. Nobody else can apply for this in your name. If the student loan debt is in your name, then you need to apply for this. And then number 3, I affirm that one of the following is true for 2020. So January 1st through December 31st, 2020, or 2021, and the same dates. I made less than the required income to file federal taxes. I filed as a single tax filer and made less than $125,000. I was married, filed my taxes separately, and made less than $125,000. Or I was married, filed my taxes jointly, and made less than $250,000. I filed as head of household and made less than $250,000. I filed as a qualifying widower, and made less than $250,000. And one key piece of information here is this little grayed out text that says if you filed federal taxes, your income requirements are based on your adjusted gross income. That's good news, because that tends to be lower than your total income, your actual gross income. So you can see this on line 11 of IRS form 1040, which I'm so glad they put this here, because I know that there was some confusion or question around what income this is based off of. For many people, this is easy to figure out. I've never made over 6 figures, so automatically I know that I qualify, but for people who are around 125, 130, and their take-home pay was 125 or their gross pay was 125, which one to go off of, and now that's giving us the answer. You do have to sign here, first name, middle initial, last name, and then you select the checkbox that you blah, 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 legal stuff, and then you would just submit it. So very, very easy. Obviously, when this comes out, you want to read through everything, make sure you're understanding in case they add anything to it, because we don't know what could change to it. Maybe some links will be thrown in there and we have to make sure we read the fine print, but I'm definitely going to read every single line on this application when it actually comes out. But yeah, this is what it should be looking like. If you want to see this, it will be in the description box. Okay, now I want to explain why this application hasn't come out yet. First of all, it's the government. Anything with the government is going to be slower than they say it is. I used to work at a government agency and everything took forever. So I expected that, and it's just the way it is. Number two, going along with that, they are doing this in a very unorganized way. All of this stuff should have been settled and put into place before it was even announced. And again, it's the government, so they didn't do that. Number three, there have been several lawsuits against this. So they are trying to stop this from happening, which puts a delay on the cancellation for us, including this application. So the first lawsuit that I heard was actually a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, and it was very short-lived. It was a lawsuit trying to reverse the cancellation policy by this guy, Frank Garrison. He's a public interest attorney in Indiana, and he works in the public service industry, so he qualifies for the public service loan forgiveness program. So he's been in that for several years, and he would be getting his loan canceled after his 10 years of payments. So he's been on that plan and was expecting to have his debt canceled based off of that program. Now, this was introduced, this cancellation, and he was upset about that because if he got the 10K or the 20K canceled, he would have to pay taxes on that. I think he qualified for the 20K, so he would have to pay over $1,000 in state taxes because he lives in Indiana. So his argument was this should not happen because overall he thinks it's a bad idea. He also would have to pay taxes on this, and that wouldn't have been the case if he were just doing the public service loan forgiveness plan. However, this whole lawsuit was denied because the administration put the option to opt out. You can opt out of the cancellation. Then if you are in one of those states that has to pay the taxes, you can opt out of this. You don't have to pay the taxes if you are getting that public service loan forgiveness. And yeah, you don't have to worry about it. So that one was out the window. There have been a few other lawsuits. Honestly, I don't know too much about those. I think there were like 3 or 4 others. However, there has been a recent lawsuit, and this one has the largest possibility of success. So I did take some notes on this and, got my notebook per usual to read from because I don't memorize this information. So this was, a couple of weeks ago, but it was a lawsuit filed by a coalition of 6 states, and those 6 states are Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and South Carolina. They're making this difficult for us. So they argue that this cancellation will hurt them in a number of ways, and they specifically said that Missouri's student loan servicer, which is part of its state government, I believe this is MOHELA, they could see a drop in revenue because borrowers are likely to consolidate their loans under the FFEL program. So I think this was part of the reason why the administration is now excluding that. So that's why I think 800,000 people or so now no longer qualify for the cancellation. So that is no longer relevant. They also say that overall it harms entities that service the loans through lost tax revenue on forgiven debt. I don't know. I find it confused. I don't know what this stuff means. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not an attorney. They're just trying to do this to stop it, clearly. This one specifically is called Nebraska versus Biden et al., even though it's all the 6 states there. So they were in court about this, or there was a ruling on October 12th, so yesterday, and there was no final decision made. So I guess currently it's with the U.S. District Judge Autry. His name is Judge Autry, and he must resolve which law should control the decision to issue relief. So currently, Biden is using the HEROES Act, which is from 2003, for this cancellation to happen. And basically these states are saying that this is too big. He's not allowed to do that. Like, the HEROES Act doesn't cover student loan debt, blah, blah, blah. And that he should instead be using the Administrative Procedures Act, or the APA. And I was looking into that act, which allows for comment periods. So comment periods last for like 30 to 60 days. And basically it allows these agencies to get opinions and views from members of the public, like who this may impact. So with that, it would delay things pretty significantly, considering the comment period is 30 to 60 days. It also requires agencies to justify their decisions for whether they're for it or against it. So all in all, this would really delay everything. Even like, it still would be a possibility for the cancellation under that act, but it would just take way longer. If that were the case, they would probably continue the forbearance and 0% interest, because obviously that's not what was told. I don't know. It's interesting. The latest that I heard from this, so there hasn't been no decision. They haven't given a timeline of like when he's going to say which act to follow, which act this should fall under. I did see that whichever act he does choose, whichever ruling he makes, there's likely to be appeals on either side. So that means this is probably going to be delayed even further. One interesting thing though that I saw, I think this was announced like 2 hours ago. This is the most recent article that I found on this. So Mohila, which is a servicer involved in this whole case, this Nebraska versus Biden, they could be on the hook for as much as $175 billion if it impedes borrowers from receiving debt forgiveness. And this is according to a notice from the AFT, or American Federation of Teachers, and the Student Borrowers Protection Center, or SBPC. I don't know, this article that I'm reading now, I think is one of the most detailed about this and most helpful. It does mention that debt cancellation is not a recognized action under the Administrative Procedure Act. So that's pretty significant, because that's what this case is trying to argue. To prove standing, a plaintiff must show specific harm from whatever action over which they are suing. And it's difficult to pull that off when the issue is a benefit like debt cancellation. There's quite a bit to this. I think altogether it's confusing, kind of like just a different language to me. I don't think that it's going to pass. I don't think they're going to be able to reverse this policy. I do think that the cancellation is still going to happen, but just do not make any rash decisions right now. Like, this is not set in stone. This is going to be delayed. It's already delayed. It may not pass at all. Like, we may not get the cancellation. Even though they've put out this application, it may not happen. So just keep that in mind. And the third possibility is that it will happen, and it will happen in a more timely manner. The timeline that we were given initially, so we should be seeing cancellation by the end of the year. There's just a lot going on right now. Yeah, this is exactly why I am continuing to save for my student loan debt, because I don't know the status of everything. Nothing is absolutely certain, and I don't want to start using the extra cash that I have saved up on other things if I will still have to pay debt because the cancellation doesn't actually happen. None of us know. I don't have any specific answers for you, but that's just the current status of this debt relief plan. I think it is hopeful that they put out the application. That's, one step closer. It does say that it should still be coming out in October, but I think that could change, because they did tell us early October, and that's already been delayed. So keep an eye out for these lawsuits. I will link this down below. There may be more to come. I don't know. But as of right now, this is the main lawsuit that has the highest probability of success, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But comment down below if you have any further questions. I may not know the answer, but I can try my best. I will keep you updated as things go. Thank you all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.